miles? What horsepower are you running? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, those are all trade secrets. But I can point you in the direction of some pretty hot Facebook groups where guys are all like, I just cashed my first $1,000 check, and some guys are like, that's nothing. Here's a check.
That's great.
Yeah,
bragging about checks.
Yeah, they'd just be like, this university in Alabama, and I'm just I'm their exclusive pressure washer now.
Oh,
so, thinking about getting into mold remediation. It's like, whoa, calm down, buddy.
Mold
We're all friends
remediation.
Here. We're all friends.
What, you think you're better than us, dude? What do you think this is, dude?
Yeah.
You want to go Ivy League on us, bro?
Yeah, there are pressure washing conferences.
Oh, I'm sure.
And conventions. And I'm wondering, like, are there awards? Or they're just like, oh man, I'm nominated every year, but like this year I'm gonna win.
Jack Steele from fucking Minnesota always gets it, dude.
Yeah.
There was stuff like that when I was working, when I was doing heavy equipment like skid steers, grade work mostly. Mm-hmm. And dude, they would have a group in the yard before we started a shift where they're showing a video from some skid steer convention in Lexington, Kentucky, where they're like doing tricks on skid steers. They're like, watch this guy, and they have like an obstacle course. You know what a skid steer is, right? Like a bobcat.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the bobcats with like the tracks.
Yeah.
Well, these have the wheels.
Okay.
The actual like tires. Nice. And they're like popping wheelies and going over obstacle courses and stuff. It's so stupid. And they're like, look how good he is, dude. Or they're like, I could do that. I could definitely do that. I signed up for it for next year.
That's pretty great.
Any kind of trade convention is funny to me. Like being that super into something.
I mean, I've never been to one, but I probably would learn a lot.
You should do a man on the street for a pressure washing convention.
That's
pretty fun, dude.
It's like a lot of like small businesses where it's like in their mind the owner is like, I am what keeps this country going. I am a job creator.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, you keep this country going? Do you pay your taxes? They're like, nah, not really.
I got a guy. He gets me out of a lot of it. All those dudes are the best at dodging taxes.
Yeah.
Until they get caught.
Yeah. Well, it's you can't make too much money. You know.
Yeah.
If you make more than an IRS agent, that's when they're going to crack
you.
down on you.
Like, as long as
as long as you stay underneath like the lowest level of what an IRS agent makes, he's like, well, I'm not going to pick on that guy.
He's struggling.
Yeah. It's like, yeesh, I'd feel guilty.
Oh man. Pressure washing, dude. How long have you been pressure washing?
I don't even remember when I started. I woke up doing it one day. No, when I was like 12, I worked with my dad's business growing up. Like every summer.
Pressure washing business?
Yeah, he got laid off from being a bread truck driver for Merida in 1981, middle of a recession.
Damn.
And he saw a guy cleaning windows, and he thought, that looks pretty easy. I could probably figure out how to do that. So he wrote a bad check to cover the equipment, and he made just enough money the next day to cover the check for the equipment.
All right.
So, we, not to brag, but we know how to run things on a shoestring. I think. We know how to be poor for a very long time.
Hell yeah. And then you became a youth pastor?
Yeah, I wanted to be even poorer. I was like, this'll do it.
I want to make no money.
Yeah. No, I did. You want to know more about that?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. I want to know what got you out of being a youth pastor. That's more interesting.
Oh. Well, it was kind of a long process, but really, I mean, the church in Gainesville, Florida, where I was a youth pastor, like me and my ex-wife moved to Chattanooga, and she had asked me, she was like, could you like take a break from doing stuff in church so much while we get settled in up there? And I was like, yeah, all right, that's fine. And then after about 10 months, I was like, I'm in school at UTC during that time. So like I'm 15 years older than all the other students.
Right.
I was also like 40 pounds heavier. I looked like a polar bear trying to casually hang out with penguins. And I was just like, I need some friends my age. I'd probably get involved in church. So I started playing music more in church again. So, but yeah, I just stopped. But when in 2017, this is a year after I'd done acid for the first time, and I told somebody in church who I thought was cool. And he was the first year. And the second time I was like, yeah, I did it again. He was like, I think you need to tell the camp director about that. I was like, it's just a few days from camp. I mean, if he freaks out, then he's down a counselor. And plus, it's not like I'm bringing some to the kids to trip with.
Right.
You know, I was like, what do you think I'm going to do? But anyway, that they did find that very disturbing. So
that you did acid twice.
Yeah, and I wasn't sorry about it. Most crucially, now if I'd been like, I'm so sorry,
you weren't guilty enough. Dude.
I was going through a dark time, and I'll never do it again. Because like I don't know like everybody's stories, but I'm sure that there were other counselors there with some DUIs or other skeletons in their closets. That. But yeah, it was. I enjoyed. I mean, I greatly enjoyed it.
Were you already doing comedy?
Yeah, at that point I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, that's who got me the acid.
Yeah, I figured as much.
So,
what was your first open mic?
First one was Comedy Catch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at the old location.
Oh, okay.
Giggles Grill, and I visited in June of 2015. And some people had just been like, "Oh, you want to do comedy? You should just do it." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know, And because I always had friends who were funnier than I was, and none of them did stand up.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, what right do I have? And little did I know that's not how it works. So it really is just kind of about like who's willing to practice the most.
Who's willing to eat shit and still go up.
Yep. So, and I had just gotten divorced, so I was like, well, that hurt way more than some strangers not liking me for 5 minutes.
Right.
I think I can handle that. So, but I was a comedy fan my whole life. So I went and visited, and I saw some people at the open mic who were so bad that I was like, oh, at least I won't be the worst.
That's always like the biggest boost. If you see someone just eat shit, and you're like, oh, I'm definitely better than that. At least better than that. I can beat that.
Yeah. So it's like if I show up here, I'll at least be I'll be above the bottom third. So yeah, I practiced, and I think for years, and sometimes I still do this. Like I'll peak in the middle. It's like I feel like that's my move. Right? It's like never peak at the end. Always peak in the middle.
Get that highest point in the middle and fade them out.
Just the sound of an audience slowly losing confidence. They're like, oh, we thought he was good, but maybe not. Were
you did you start out doing music or start out just purely stand-up?
Purely stand-up. I feel kind of dumb for not getting the guitar out sooner, but it's funny. At Ryan Darling's 30th birthday, I played, and this time I'd only been doing it like 3 months at that point. I weaseled my way onto that show somehow, and I wore the suit for the first time.
Nice.
And I played the guitar, and Corey Forrester was there, and I played. I told some stories about Ryan, and then I played Landslide. And then at the end of Landslide, and the whole audience is singing, I've been afraid of changes. And then I'm just like, and now with every head bowed and every eye closed, I just, just went straight into the pastor thing. And I got a big laugh. And Corey was like, you should do that.
Yeah.
Like, that is great. You should do that. And like an idiot, I was just like, well, I don't really do that much though. So it took me like another 5 years to heed his advice.
And how soon did you write your own songs, or were you just kind of fucking around with the guitar and riffing?
Well, I figured I better have a song if I'm going to do it. And that was another thing. I just didn't have a funny song.
Yeah.
I was writing in jokes like everybody else. And then I had an idea I feel like a bunch of people started thinking about musical comedy all at once.
Yeah.
Charles Newby had probably started doing it even before anybody else here.
Right.
And he does this like cowboy character. And so I think that kind of gave me the idea for Love is Like a Hot Dog. because I was just like, it would be funny to write like a dumb
I forgot about that
dumb country song. I think around that time, Dave had also written Truck Jeans Beer Situation.
I don't think I've heard.
Oh, okay.
I haven't heard a lot of Charles Newby's stuff.
Oh no! So Dave Hanna had written
okay.
Truck Jeans Beer Situation, which is now like Good Cop, Rad Cop's closer most of the time. And so like, bad country is just such low hanging fruit. It's easy to make fun of. So I was like, oh, well, love is like a hot dog. Don't worry about what's in it. And it was like, that's a funny idea. But I only had the chorus for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about my parents, and I remembered something weird that my dad said to me when I was like 15 years old, and I was like, "What did it for you about Mom?" Because I was being 15, I was just sort of like, "I don't get it. How are you still married? How are you, either of you still like attracted to each other? It's a mystery to me."
Right.
And he said, "Oh man, when I first met her, I had never been that desired by a woman in my life, and it felt awesome." And I was like, that makes sense. Like, I get that. I really, because, he met her when he was like 19.
Yeah.
And had been kind of like a quiet, nerdy guy, and then was coming out of his shell, and she just kind of like, locked onto him, just like, whoa. And he was like, no one's ever looked at me that way before. This is great. So I thought, it was like, okay, the verses will be about them then, and love is like a hot dog will be the thing that he says to me, and that immediately made it funnier. I was like, I like this song, this makes me laugh. So then I tried to write more, but that was mostly during COVID.
Yeah.
So I started writing more things, and I have like 30 unfinished songs.
How much harder is it to write a song than a joke or like a full bit?
I think it's just a different facet of creativity. Like, some people are good at one thing and some people are good at another. The less I think about it, the easier it is. Like, because if I try too hard to be like, I need to show everyone how smart I am by what I'm writing. Right. That's the death of a joke. But sometimes if I have a rhyme structure and I'm just like, oh, what rhymes with that? The funniest thing will just pop out of my head. Yeah. If I don't overthink it. I don't know. I think the music comes first for me, though. Like, I'll hear a melody and then have nothing to go with it for the longest time.
And you write your own music too, right? Yeah. Like, you're not doing parody songs.
I do some parody songs,
but mostly like original.
Mostly originals. Yeah.
See, I like because my brother and we've always sang along to songs, but sang the wrong words. Yeah. So I like parody, like writing parodies for fun. Yeah. But I could not even start to write my own song. Like, I would have to fall into the rhythm of a certain song. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to start a rhythm. You know what I mean? Like, how to put words together in a song. But it seems like it's easy with a parody because you just get a tune and you
much easier
fit syllables in, and then you can just make it work.
Yeah, and you're a lot more confident in somebody else's hit song. You're like, well, at least the music is good, because there's a reason I know it. I've heard of it. So you have to have, I think, enough confidence in your own songwriting ability. So I was in a crappy band in my mid-20s, and the one thing that I was really proud of was like, people would always say that like, your songs get stuck in my head, and I don't even like them. And I was like, well, I must be able to write a hook.
Look at the Fish I Caught is always stuck in my head. Every time someone mentions Tinder, that pops in my, or even a picture of a bass. Like, if they're like, look at this, if they're like, look at this fish I caught, immediately I start to, dude, that song gets in my head immediately. It's so catchy, dude.
I should have brought a guitar or something like that.
Yeah, I almost asked you. I almost brought my banjo.
Oh, it's a different tuning.
Yeah, I know, but I almost brought it just to be like, you want to play a song? I can't play it at all. I can't play it at all.
Here's some bagpipes.
Here's some bagpipes and a clarinet. I don't know. Make something. How long was it until you started Amen Cul-de-sac?
I think. So we just started doing that I think March was our first show.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. I thought you'd been doing it for a year or so.
No. Yeah, Amen Cul-de-sac just came from, I think, like Ashley wanted to do a fake church service, and I was the most likely candidate who could like improvise with her, and because that was kind of like the only thing we had in common for the longest time was like we both had a very churchy background, and had so much of this stuff memorized that would never leave our brains. And when we found out that we both had the same rap songs about abstinence memorized, we were just like, oh, we got to do something with this. So, yeah, March. So we're coming up on our 7th show. Oh, yeah. It'll be at Barking Legs this Monday, and it's a fake church service. I play the pastor who does not realize he's leading a cult, and she is the sad announcements lady. And we have this just like bickering passive aggressive thing where it's like I'm like flagrantly misogynistic and take her for granted, or like all the work that she does behind the scenes, and she's just like, you know, like really like keeps putting herself in this position to be shat on, but she also like kind of like gives it back passive aggressively, especially when we pray. So one of the things in the show this time is that we are both praying simultaneously about each other, just like passive aggressively tattling on each other. Right. Just sort of like, well, maybe this bitch would just like not look so sad all the time. Our numbers would be up.
And how often do y'all do that? About once a month?
About monthly.
Yeah. We'll put that information up because people got to check that out.
Yeah.
So when did you start Chat Talk Tonight?
That ran from January 2018 until COVID in 2020. Okay. And we quit doing that because that was very dependent on the Palace Theater, which then closed. Yeah. But I think in 2017, Rose, who owned the Palace Theater, reached out to some local comics because she was taking that place over, and she wanted there to be. She just kind of wanted to take local comedy up a notch. Right. You know, she's one of several saintly people who have tried to do that over the years. And she was just like, I don't know, I just kind of see you as a talk show host. And I was like, I have always wanted to
Dude, you were great on
a talk show host.
You were great on that.
Thank you.
Did y'all only record the one? Because I can only find the space episode on YouTube.
So that's the one that Ginger Soul Production, you might know Hayden. Yeah. So he and
Nathan.
Nathan worked on that and put that up. But it takes so long to do that well. Right. And so I'm very thankful that they were able to get that one. Yeah. But I know Keith Nolan, who was the sound guy then, he has a bunch of footage, but like I have barely any footage from back then. And I don't know how to edit, so I'm dependent.
Dude, you got to get some clips. That show was funny, dude.
It was
really funny.
Thank you.
It was really funny.
I learned a lot doing it. That was the first time I ever booked people for a show. Yeah. And so learning like how to set yourself up for success, because when people are driving in from out of town, you're so stressed about are they going to make it on time? Do I get to we never got to do a real rehearsal. So you start realizing like, oh, there's like 5 or 6 people around here that I can really depend on to just show up and wing it.
Dude, Ben Levine doing the reenactment about getting abducted, where he's like, I was just sitting in my room playing video games, and then it shows him he's whacking off with a Spartan helmet. So funny, dude.
I forgot about that.
That's the only evidence of Chat Talk Tonight on YouTube is him. Oh, it's so funny.
Oh, I'm so glad.
John Ike played Galileo.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He's like, I invented the telescope. We're like, oh, to look at stars? Well, closer things at first. I was looking in windows, a lot of windows. That's very good, dude.
Yeah.
I wish we could bring that back. Maybe with the whole Barking Legs getting kind of picked up.
That's true.
Maybe a Chat Talk Tonight.
We could do it
come back
every once in a while. I couldn't do it on a monthly basis because the show was so much work that it made me worse at stand up.
Right. Because you had to focus all that into that.
Yeah.
You couldn't work on your material and stuff like that.
No. And writing a new monologue every single month and then delivering that monologue while I'm worried about everything else that's going on behind the scenes, like every mistake that's happened.
And were you delivering the monologues cold, or had you worked them out at mics before, or what?
I had worked some jokes out at mics, but usually it was
just a cold monologue.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to do something like that. Most people can't handle it. But when you know you have raw talent.
What a brave, brave soul you are, Donnie.
Yeah, I'm just look at my jaw, everyone. Look at my jaw.
Fine jawline.
Yep.
Jokes, they're there.
That technically qualified as humor.
No, but I love that. I wish there was more episodes on YouTube of it, because that was a real funny show, and it was super cool to see something like a full production from Chattanooga like that with, a lot of people that I know from the scene and stuff. You had Jimmy and Courtney, John Ike, Ben Levine, Ashley was on there. Who else was on there? Ethan McFall, but I don't really.
Oh yeah. I mean, I kind of involved everybody over the course of 2 years. Jimmy was on a lot. Bridget was on a lot, and it was really fun. I mean, it's funny. Cedric was on one time. Because I was like, he looks so much as much as anyone can like James Harden. So I was like, you're gonna play James Harden. He's like, I got to tell you something. I'm black, but I don't know anything about sports. I was like, okay, well, he's the leading scorer in the NBA. He's kind of world famous, and he was like, all right. I was like, whatever. Okay, well, okay, we'll figure something out.
Oh man, is it true that you kind of boozed a lot for that show?
Oh yeah, I mean they had a. I mean, it was basically an open bar for me, and I was very stressed and definitely drank too much before and during shows. Mostly during. I mean, I would have a glass of beer next to me. Once we got halfway through the show, I'd be like, if somebody was doing their stand-up, I would go out and get a beer and come back. But it was partly to support the bar. Like, hey, everybody, you can leave the room and go get a beer. It would actually be kind of nice if you did, because this show is not free. So.
How long were the shows? Because did everyone that was a guest do a stand-up spot?
Not everyone. We would have somebody, like a headliner from out of town, come in. So somebody from Atlanta or Nashville.
So like a talk show, they would come in, do a set, and then sit down on panel, or just do a set.
If they could.
Yeah.
So like Brad Sativa was on, I think we did one where the theme was business, and so he just played like a weed dealer. But I was just talking to people, like, how do you make your business work, and talking about things in like business school language, and he's just like, I was like, well, I mean, my supply is very good, demand is high. If anyone has any more demand, let me know.
That's good.
Yeah.
What were some of the other themes? You had space, business,
religion, of course.
Oh, dude. Yeah. See,
that was my favorite episode.
There needs to be an episode of that, dude.
Ben Dalby played Old Testament God.
And he looks like, if you were going to cast a comedic role of God, I would cast Ben Dalby with the long curly hair and the goofy goatee that he's got. Yeah. That's Ben Dalby, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Yeah. No,
does he have
long
a goatee?
Hair. He's got kind of like a soul patch.
Yeah, soul patch thing, yeah.
Not much of a mustache most of the time, but I'm trying to remember who played Satan. Somebody. Oh, I feel bad now. I don't remember who played Satan, and then Ryan Darling played Job, who was like out in the audience and going like, I have some problems. I'd like to speak up. And so it was like God and Satan just like had a bet over, over him. And Ryan's just like, so I have like leprosy. So you're telling me this is just like a prank you guys are pulling on me? They're like, yeah, my bad, dude.
Oh, I forgot I gave you that.
Yeah, I forgot about how much that hurt. But Dalby was just, we worked some of this. We wanted it to be partly improvised, so I would tell every comic who played a character, I'd be like, just come up with 5 questions that you want me to ask you, and have an answer ready. I don't need to know what it is.
Yeah.
And so I think he told me to ask him what his favorite book of the Bible was. And I was like, so what's your favorite book of the Bible? You know, seeing as you wrote it. And he was like, Numbers. And I was like, Numbers? And I was like, wait a second. What comes after the book of Numbers? He goes, Letters. I was like, did you ghostwrite your own book? Like, you know people take this seriously, right? And he's like, man, I didn't know I was going to go that far.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that one I really wish we had on tape.
Yeah, dude, that would be a great one.
We did a politics one where, and again, like, so we always interviewed people from like throughout history.
Yeah.
So Matt Patterson played Abraham Lincoln, and he just took it in such a surreal direction. Like he kept using catchphrases from the past 25 years, and he'd be like, and they did not smell what I was cooking. Something Lincoln would never say. Yeah.
That's great.
It was beautiful. Sean Phipps played William Shakespeare. That was a literature, famous authors.
Yeah.
Just anything where, I mean, this definitely got, I mean, this is not a super original idea. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of sketch shows have done things like this, but I just kind of wanted to do it myself.
Oh, dude, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. I wish I could have I wish I was around in the scene when it was actually going on, because I wanted to see. Like I said, I've watched that one episode a couple times, and every time I hope there's more.
Yeah.
But what are you working on anything now?
Yes. So Ashley and I need to record our songs for Amen Cul-de-sac and actually put out a fake praise album.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I also want to record all of like my songs that I've written for my individual act.
Yeah.
And get that up on Spotify, because like I love listening to musical comedy while I work. Sean Cullen is one of my favorites. He's got a live album from 2000 that it's so ridiculous. And Henry Phillips I like a lot. So, but they do like original stuff, not just parody. So I want to, and it doesn't have to be great. Like, it just needs to not have any obvious mistakes on it.
Right.
And yeah, that's the main thing. I just want to double down on the musical stuff. And
how many songs do you have just in your like own set?
Probably 8.
8 songs
right now. Yeah.
That's a pretty solid album. 8 songs.
And it can definitely, I do, material in between them, kind of lead. I do need to tighten some of that stuff up.
Are you going to do a live recording, or just record the songs and do like an album?
I think I'm going to do both.
Oh, okay.
Because I think some of the songs lend themselves more to
with the
having
material.
An audience there. You want to hear the laughter.
Right.
Whereas some of the songs, let's just say the not as funny songs. Maybe I don't want an audience just being quiet.
No judgment on that one.
Yeah, I just wrote a new one called "Nobody Loves You as Much as They Love Being Right." That I'll be playing on the 23rd at JJ's for the first time, and it's an elaboration on one of Courtney's premises, because she's said that in one of her bits, and I didn't mean to rip her off.
Yeah.
But I had this idea of, I'd like it to be like a 3-part talking country song thing, where it's like a story happens, and at the end somebody says, "Nobody loves you as much as they love being right." And the first time it's a judge. The second time it's me saying it to my mom as I unfriend her on Facebook. And the third time is like God telling it to me in heaven as he throws me into hell. So
that's great. That's great. That's gonna be awesome, dude.
Yeah. But I think it's funnier as a concept than it doesn't have. It's not like punchline throughout like some of the other songs.
Do you feel the need, like when you're writing a comedy song, to have certain punches throughout it, or do you just kind of develop it how it is, and if it's punchy, it's punchy. If it's funny because of the story, then it is what it is.
I'm doing pretty well just to finish a song right now.
I gotcha.
So, there's I mean, I try to let the audience let me know.
Yeah.
And it's funny how some people will take a song very differently. Like the one that I wrote that sounds a lot like the Decemberists. Like a bunch of people think it's like, oh, it's just purely funny because you're making fun of the Decemberists. And another friend of mine listened to it and it made her cry. She was like, oh, it's so wistful. And I was like, oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, of course. That's what I meant.
Yes.
I meant to write a wistful song.
Yeah, Elijah told me that he's like, almost as an insult, he was like, love is like a hot dog. It's just a good song. It's not even a comedy song. It's just a good song. Like, thank you.
Oh, man. What else?
But I think the more that people laugh, I think the Mary Did You Know parody is probably the one that has the most jokes in it.
I don't think I've heard that one.
Oh, no?
I haven't heard all your songs. I've only heard Look at the Fish I've Caught, Love is Like a Hot Dog.
This is why I have to record them.
Yeah. That's why. Yeah, I want to know because I want to show people your songs too. Because I'm like, no, you don't understand. I don't know the song, but look at the fish I caught. He's talking about dating online.
Yeah.
You just have to hear it like every time. Yeah, they're so funny, dude.
Thank you. I just keep complimenting me. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just
dude.
go ahead. Yeah.
I know they're probably like old hat for some people in the scene because you've done a few of them over the years.
That's why I.
But for me, they're brand new because I've only been in the scene a years.
Yeah, I try not to wear them out.
Yeah.
The Mary Did You Know parody. That's the one with the most jokes per line. But I've noticed that when I play it, I do have to slow down and like let there be some room. If it's a live audience.
Let the laughs.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm surprised by where the laugh is. Because I'll be like, it's a line that I don't think is the funniest one, but it'll just land hard with that audience. I'm like, jiddling, let it ring out, and then come back. So I'm still learning how to do that. I mean, that's a skill in itself, responding.
Timing with music, laughter, I can see how that's... Do you, when you're writing a song, do you think about that while you're writing the song? To not have like a bunch of lines stacked up? Yeah,
I've noticed that if it's a really fast song, it's not going to work.
Right.
Because if there needs to be a break of space.
Yeah.
So
almost like hitting a setup punchline, you have to hit that break.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
The most recent song that I did, the Nobody Loves You one, like it is stacked a little too close together.
And we'll also prop up your pressure washing business so that you don't become homeless in the process.
We're going into winter. So it's a tough time.
Hard to pressure wash.
Yeah. Keep the pressure washers of the South in your thoughts and prayers.
Just move to Florida. They pressure wash year round.
I will never go back. Can't go back.
Oh, yeah. You are a Florida boy.
I am.
Right.
I'm a Floridian.
Born and raised in Gainesville, or that's just where you landed?
I was born in Clearwater, and then from age like 2 to 7, we lived in a bunch of like little towns outside of Gainesville. Bell, Chiefland, and Trenton.
God, just
middle of nowhere.
holes of Florida.
I mean, no judgment on the people who have strangely chosen to live there. But I viewed it as a place to be escaped from. Gainesville, I really loved.
I lived in DeLand for a while. Mm-hmm. You know where that's at? It's like south of Ocala.
Yeah.
I lived in Central Florida. That's where I did the grade work on skid steers, and
that
Central Florida is
its own therapist.
Central Florida is not a place for normal people to live.
No,
it's for. The retired people are on the coast, and they push out all of the people that they don't want. They push them inland.
Yeah. Well, you notice that, like, the corners of the country are where people escape to after they've done something unforgivable. It's like, I can't stay in Oklahoma. I got to go to California or Alaska.
Florida.
Or
Maine.
Maine. It's a weirdo. People. But so if people say that, like, I'm a 5th generation Floridian, that's kind of saying that, like, 5 generations ago, my ancestor did something that made him have to move to Florida. Because there was no air conditioning there. I mean, like, you only lived there.
The natives, native Floridian, not not the tribes, not Native Americans, but like Florida born and raised, the 5th generations, those are the strangest of the people there.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that you're like, you ask them, oh, what does your family do during hurricanes? Like really bad ones. Like, I mean, every time we just get the side by sides out. We usually like, if the streets are flooded, we'll surf them and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And this isn't after the hurricane's passed. This is while the hurricane is over them. Yeah. And they're throwing a fucking hurricane party. They're like, there's no work. We don't got to do shit. Let's drink. Every time you go to a gas station the week before a hurricane comes, guaranteed the beer shelves are empty. Yeah. Guaranteed. Food, you can get all the food you want. Beer and liquor stores are out of stock completely.
Yeah.
And hardware stores.
Yeah, I remember driving around when it was like 85-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah.
And we're just like all the lights in town were out. We're driving. We tried to get out of the car, and the wind blew the shut from both directions. And we were like, "Whoa!"
Crazy, dude. Did you have any hurricane parties?
That was the only one I really remember. Although this is again being. This is on the whole like, church thing. My hurricane party was at the church. We were playing Mario Kart all night. We're just like, oh, we still got power. Sweet.
Backup generator kicked on.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously I used to be pretty wild.
That's some pretty wild days during the hurricanes.
Yeah.
I was number 1 on Mario Kart.
Yep. I was Wario. Always. Just because he had no superpowers other than just being mean-spirited.
And fat.
Yeah. I was just like, I like Wario. He's just such a jackass. Like,
and I can't believe drugs ruined all that fun for you, dude.
Well, I think you also just like age out of it, too.
Yeah.
The older you get, the less...
It is strange when you meet people. Well, I mean, you grew up in church. I grew up in church. I grew up in a Baptist church. What denomination did you grow up in?
The Vineyard. You ever heard of it?
No. Is that a cult? That's a cult.
Why do people keep asking?
Because it's called the Vineyard?
It's cult adjacent. It's cult adjacent.
They just don't have the cult leader.
So we didn't have the aesthetics of a cult, but
No
other
matching
churches
clothes.
definitely thought we were a cult a lot. I mean, like, so when you think of a cult, you think of like a leader who like controls everything.
Yeah.
It's very abusive.
Brainwashing.
Brainwashing. They tell you nobody's allowed to be friends with you if you leave. It was not like that. And we did go to a church that was like that.
Seventh-day Adventist?
No. It was it was a church called The Rock.
What the fuck is up with these churches?
Branding.
The Rock what? No,
just The Rock. So The Rock of Panama City was founded by a guy named F. Nolan Ball, who told us that he would never die.
That sounds like L. Ron Hubbard. What's his name? F. Nolan Ball?
Yeah. He left the Assemblies of God Pentecostal denomination in 1987 because they wouldn't give him enough power. So he started his own thing, told everybody he wouldn't die.
Hell yeah, dude.
He franchised.
And
go to his website. In 2018, he did not die. He transitioned into the presence of Yahweh. That's how they get you.
That's how they got you.
Yeah.
That's like the Heaven's Gate guy.
Yeah.
That's great, dude.
But yeah, this church still.
You went to that church?
We went to one of his spin-off churches.
So what were those what were those sermons like? It wasn't hellfire and brimstone.
It was a bit of that. It was kind of like generally like society is sliding into the gutter and
we gotta escape.
Yeah, and we're just gonna pray.
We gotta build a compound.
There's no compound.
Not yet. They didn't get that far.
Yeah, there might be some. Well, they started their own school.
Of course.
Yes, of course. Because what are you gonna do? Let your kids go to public schools
where the devil teaches?
Yeah, the devil teaches in person. And he's obviously not very good because test scores in our area are low.
Yeah.
Devil's not even that smart.
They might say that the devil does that on purpose, dude.
That may be. Oof. Boy. So,
the devil's lowering our kids' test scores.
Yeah. So I can't say that like outer society was great or anything. Right. So it's like when people talk now about like how we just realized that like Woodstock 99 was kind of problematic. And I was like, we knew that in church. We were just like, it's like people are like doing all sorts of horrible things there. I mean, it's like sexual assault is bad. We were at least like on board with that, you know?
So it was like Pentecostal leaning though?
Yeah, very Pentecostal, but just like very authoritarian.
Yeah.
You know, like people who, because I mean, the Bible is really hard to understand. And wouldn't it be nice if somebody with a strong personality just told you what it meant?
That would be nice.
Yeah, it would be. It's so nice. As long as it kind of lines up with what you already sort of believe anyway.
Yeah.
So culturally, we were already pretty similar to these folks anyway. They were, I mean, to their credit, like anti-racist. It was like, I mean, a lot of Pentecostal churches do, like, they're very good, like as far as like race goes and stuff. And they give women more power than usual, although not too much.
Not like the Episcopalians.
Wait, what are they even doing?
Boy. Don't get me started on the Episcopalians. They have gay preachers.
I think, but they're boring. So you got to hand it to them. It's very boring.
The Episcopalians are?
Yeah.
I've never been to an Episcopalian church.
It's just Catholic light.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought that was Presbyterian and Lutheran. Presbyterian's like diet Catholic.
Episcopalian's closer.
Lutheran's like Catholic zero, and Episcopalian's like what? Catholic, just Catholic light.
Yeah, well, it's
Basically.
tricky because like there's a bunch of different kinds of Presbyterian too. So PCUSA is the Presbyterian something of the USA. They are liberal-ish, but confusingly PCA, Presbyterian Church of America, very conservative. So it's just like slightly off, but it's like don't trust those guys.
It's like the Southern Baptist and the American Baptist Association, same thing.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
So what was the Vineyard? Like, is that just like one of those happy non-denominational churches? We only teach you the happy stories.
Kinda. I mean, I thought it was more liberal than it turned out to be, because like most of the people that I'd known were either Baptist or Pentecostal, which tended to be like very conservative. Yeah. And to the point where it's like you're not really supposed to ask questions.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Vineyard, it was like everyone has questions. That's normal. That's okay. And I was like, how refreshing.
Wait, we can ask things?
Yeah, it's okay to have doubts even. Oh my goodness. But it was, they were started by, they kind of broke off of a church denomination called Calvary Chapel. And, but they believed in like healing and prophecy. And like a lot of people who believe in that, they took it way too far in the 80s. Yeah. So by the time my family showed up in like 94 or so, it had mostly calmed down. But when I say that, you have to remember that my concept of what is normal is broken. Yeah,
you started in a cult.
Yeah. So I'm just like, what's the big deal?
This is nice.
So take everything I say with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But it definitely, I mean, the thing that I miss, I think, about church is that in our group, like you could actually say like, hey, there's something I would like prayer for. Yeah. And somebody would actually pray for you in a non-creepy way 95% of the time. And even if the prayer was not answered, you felt your friend caring for you. Right. Whereas that's not something you get like anywhere else.
The community.
Yeah.
Like an actual community that cares for each other.
Yeah. Because even in comedy, it's like we mosly like each other, but somebody's always going to take the problem like, well, let's joke about it.
Well, that's how Baptists are. I mean, it's Baptists and the comedy scene are very similar.
Really?
They're very nice to you up front. Uh-huh. As soon as you walk away, they're like, you want me to tell you what that dude's fucking up? You want me to tell you why that guy's going to hell? Yeah. That's how Baptists are. It's always like, oh, we're praying for you. We're caring for you. I heard about that. You know, we love you. We're here for you. And then as soon as you walk away, they're like, I'll tell you why God's punishing them. Yeah.
No, the scene does often make me feel like I'm still in church.
Yeah.
So
you have to be like, okay, I won't ask any questions.
Well, and likewise, I understand why if people like talk about me behind my back, I get it. Yeah, because I'm at the age now where people probably go like, he's not going to listen. If we could fix him, we would have fixed him by now. It's too late. Whatever. So.
Oh man, how many? You're what? 5 years in, 6 years in?
Tragically, 8.
8 years.
I should lie. I should
No,
say it's
don't
lower.
lie,
No,
dude.
no, I should. Because once it starts getting up there, people go like, oh, well, you're not going to make it.
Well, dude, I mean,
I've been doing stand-up 3 months, and I'm based in Austin.
and you've already opened for Cathrine Blanford. Mm-hmm. You've opened for Kathy Lee Morgan, right?
Who?
Was that her name?
Kathy Lee Morgan?
Maybe.
Kathy Lee Griffith?
No.
I watched a lot of Kathy Lee growing up.
Wrong name.
Homeschooled.
Completely wrong.
Oh, you're
name.
talking about...
Leanne Morgan?
I've never opened for her.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you did.
No.
Oh. Well, take that off the description. God.
Maybe I said I did.
I thought
I opened for Heather Land, who is probably who you're thinking of.
Heather.
At the Walker Theater.
and Etta May, right? Didn't
Yes.
you open for Etta May? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, hosted for Etta May.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's opening, kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I didn't ruin anything for her. Hosted for Dale Jones, Killer Bees,
Yeah, dude,
Dusty Slay.
Dude, you're fine. We went and saw Dusty Slay last night. He fucking crushed at the
No doubt.
Walker. Yeah. Dude, you're fine. You're doing great.
I'm okay.
You're one of my favorite comics in Chattanooga for sure.
I will not ask you who the others are, so that remains a compliment in my mind.
I'll say it's a small list.
Okay.
It's a very... I wouldn't even call it a list, really. I don't know what's smaller than a list, but it's that.
Good. Most of the time I end up on a list, it is not good.
Oh, man. Do you have anything you want to plug?
Just Lookout Comedy Festival.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
gonna bring it back.
We didn't even bring up
Yeah.
Lookout Comedy Festival.
Yeah. that's
How long
okay.
have you been doing that?
This past year was our 4th.
4th year?
Yeah, so we did 2018, 2019, and then last year, and then this year. Took 2 years off for COVID.
Yeah.
Anybody has any questions about that, I'm an open book, and I'll answer.
I mean, every comic that I know that performed there, I don't know a lot of them because, you don't book out in town talent, which I don't blame.
Yeah, there were
you.
only 8 locals on the festival.
Yeah.
None of their names were on the shirt. It's true. They only hosted, but
Yeah, but
we could-
there's a reason for that.
There's a reason.
It's
There's
so
a reason.
people aren't like, why didn't you book me? Like,
not just why didn't you book me, but why did I get this spot,
Oh,
or why
yeah.
did I get this number of
Right.
spots? And I'm like, you don't ever do comedy out of town, and you're really come on.
yeah.
So,
But everyone that performed there said they had great shows.
Yeah.
I unfortunately missed it because I was in fucking North Carolina at a TikTok meetup.
and this is why you'll never be on it.
Yep.
No, we're gonna do it every year, and every year there will be changes.
Yeah.
And I really would like to. So here's an idea, a little off topic, but I would like to do a 1-minute tournament, because we had that on the festival where it's like every comic who was even in the room,
Yeah.
not even on the festival, but in the room, got to do 1 minute. And it was really interesting seeing like how even in just 1 minute you could tell like who was who.
Yeah.
And I was like, we could probably do a tournament where it's like anybody who wants to
Dude.
enter it, just like head to head, like
Fuck yeah.
who's the 1 minute champion.
That would be fun as shit.
Yeah.
That would be really fun.
Yeah, because like 1 minute is attainable.
Yeah.
Like anyone can write 1 minute.
Oh, yeah. That's what?
So
4 jokes, maybe?
depending. Yeah.
I mean, you can do 3 jokes if they're real good.
Yeah. You could do probably 3 jokes, one at the end that has like a bunch of tags.
Yeah.
And just, yeah. So
Yeah, dude, that would be really fun.
Yeah.
Like a 64-man
yeah,
March Madness style.
that would be really fun because
would
then
be
we'd
fun.
get to rank everyone.
And then you could go semifinals and or get down to the finals, last 4 or something, and have them do 3-minute sets or something, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's fun, dude.
It would be great. Yeah.
I'm signing up for it now. Put my name. I'm down to do it.
You'd be like, oh, I got to be careful. Patrick Cuttle was a 12 seed. He's got a chip on his shoulder about that. I smell an upset.
Announcing it like a sports event would be fucking even better, dude.
Better.
You should definitely have like a panel on stage and be like, boy, like,
Yeah.
coming off of a rough bomb last night. Let's see how he does.
All All proceeds go to Resurrect Tony from the dead.
Resurrect Tony instead of kill Tony.
Yeah.
After he's been murdered. Hell yeah, dude.
So yeah, we'll probably open submissions again. We're months from now for the festival, but so there's really no point in promoting it. But if you want to go to, for some reason, lookoutcomedy.com.
Yeah, you have. I was about to say you have a website for
last year.
Do you have a Instagram page for it?
Yeah, we do,
okay.
And I really need to update it, and post some more on it. But my hands are full of pressure washer guns. What do people want from me? I don't know.
If only they could attach the phone to the pressure washer. That way, while you're spraying, you can.
You know what? I just need to. I need to attach to my hip the gun and just like wave it around like that. Someone just like looks like, what is he doing out there?
You have 2 shoulder guns and a hip gun, and you're just doing like that.
Oh yeah.
You'd have all the grandmas buying your service. Yeah. Like, please come pressure wash my windows.
Who's that handsome Megatron out there?
Hansom Megatron. Well, Donnie, thanks for coming on,
of course,
dude.
Thank you for having me.
We will definitely have you back on for sure at some point. Anything else you want to plug real quick? What is it? Life of Marsh? What is your
my Instagram is their life on Marsh.
Yeah, is their life on Marsh. All right, Donnie, thanks.
Thank you. See ya.